Good evening, everybody ready? We're going to get started a little bit early. I'll let some of you know that if you haven't figured it out yet, we're only going to have 2 candidates for seat 4. Dan Belcher, Mr. Belcher, let us know about 4:45 this afternoon that he is withdrawn. So your city council seat 2, Dan Saraki is here, and he is unopposed. So congratulate Dan. And that'll save at least a half an hour tonight in doing this. So we're like legging it out a little early because Dan loves to answer questions, but but we'll be there. I'm Jerry Custon, and welcome to the 2016 Oldsmar City Council Forum. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend. This is a real strength of our democracy, and I say that all the time. Many of you know I spent 30 years in the military, and a lot of it overseas. And Jerry Beaverton knows it for sure. But I say, I really didn't know what democracy was until I started coming to city council meetings. And there was a guy when I used to come back in 2001, 2002. Every time a city council meeting was, he would get up and take his 3 to 5 minutes and say some of the most mundane things I ever heard. And it's 7:30 at night, and I want to go home and eat. And I'm saying, why in the world are you doing this? You just want to be on TV, or what is it? But I realized after about 6 months or so that that's what this democracy is about. And it all starts at City Hall. Because that guy can get up every time in front of the person who he elected, who's his neighbor, and say, look, you said you're going to get my trash picked up at 7:30, it's still 7:45, what are you going to do? Okay? And he can stand up there without any fear of retaliation or any fear of anything, okay? And at this level, these are your citizen servants. And the further you get away from this, whether it's the county commission or Tallahassee or Washington, the paradigm changes and we become servant citizens. So you being here tonight and taking your time out of this is what our democracy is built on. This is what it's about, and we're really glad to have you here to do that. Now, we've been passing out index cards. We have some prepared questions, but I only prepared those in case we run out of questions because we want to take your questions. So has everybody got an index card? We'll, if anybody has, will submit, please do. And if not, we'll have some prepared questions. But if you need another card or something, just grab me and we'll get it going because we want this to be driven by you. The only ground rules we have is each candidate will be given 2 minutes to basically state their platform, and then Judy will be asking questions, okay? And each candidate will have a minute to answer the questions, and we'll go that way for about a half an hour. And right before the debate ends, we're going to give each candidate a chance to ask each other one single question, and that'll be 1 minute, and then a 1 minute close. Okay? So take about a half an hour, or I'll turn it over to Judy.
First of all, I'll say that I'm from the League of Women Voters, you can see, and we are very happy to do this to promote fair elections and good government. So we'll start with the opening statement from Mrs. Afonso, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I wish to thank the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters, and the City of Oldsmar for hosting this forum, and to the city staff working tonight. My name is Becky Afonso. I'm a native Floridian from Pinellas County, born in Dunedin, raised in Clearwater, and now rooted here in Oldsmar. Our family business, a coffee distribution company, started in 1961 at a house off of Sherwood Street and grew to a 5-garage warehouse off of Pine Avenue here in Oldsmar. I have a degree in mass communications from Loyola University, New Orleans. I focused on journalism and television news directing. This education taught me to listen, to pay attention, to do my research, to make decisions, and to move to the next level. I am currently the executive director of the Florida Bicycle Association, a statewide nonprofit whose mission is bicycle education to promote healthy lifestyles, encourage alternative transportation, and to advocate for policies that save lives. Our family business moved to Oldsmar, and that was all about location. But when we built our house, it was to create a home. Oldsmar is home. I care about my home, my neighbors in this city. Live, work, play, stay. For me, I add one more word: serve. I am here to serve the people of Oldsmar, and I ask for your support as candidate for county or city seat 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beaverling?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Oldsmar and all the residents and whoever's here. My name's Jerry Beaverland, and that beautiful lady in the second row right there is my beautiful wife of 60 years, Wanda. And I've lived in Oldsmar for 50 years. I grew up in Largo when I was 12 years old. Come to the city of Oldsmar, and it became our city. Nobody can love this city any more than I do. The first thing I did was learn the city's history and got involved. I was first elected in 1970. I served until 1979 on the council, and I was one of the main movers to get this sewer plant in this city. We dedicated it in 1974. It was the first AWT plant in the United States of America, and it wasn't easy because we had to take the permits right out from underneath Pinellas County. And the last thing I did in 1979 before I went on a hiatus for 10 years is I formed a committee to build a fire station in this city with no taxpayers' money. My committee raised $54,000 and we built the fire station with a lot of help from a lot of dedicated citizens. I was elected again in 1990 and have served almost ever since then. I have written 4 books on the history of Oldsmar. This is our home. Our family has grown up here. I lost a beautiful granddaughter here. I lost our oldest son here. I'm going to die here. Oldsmar is the greatest city in the whole south of the United States of America.
Okay. Okay, now we'll start with the questions. And so, Mrs. Alfonso, will you go first? Here's the question. We have great parks in Oldsmar, but some are in need of repair, and the park at the firehouse has no restrooms. Can we fix this?
Well,
You have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to fix it because I do ride my bike by that park by the fire station. That would be something to look into, obviously, as facilities are important for people to use the parks and utilize the great atmosphere of the environment and what the city has to offer.
Thank you.
Sure, Oldsmar is a little over 10 square miles, and we have 1/3 of Oldsmar is parks and preserves, and I am proud to say that I have been a big part of bringing parks to this city. We had 70 acres out here that was going to be in the Mobley Bay Preserve, and they were going to build large homes there. I fought for that with the city manager, and we got money from the state of Florida, and we bought that 70 acres and we put it into the Mobley Bay Preserve. Parks are extremely important to me. Now, you have to take each park at a time. That costs a lot of money. And that can be put in the budget, but you have to work with the city manager also, because we just can't come up here and draw money out of the air. Yeah, I'm all for that. In fact, the matter is, I'm the one that suggested that we name that park after Richard Rogers, who was a former mayor.
Thank you. Did you answer that question? Okay. Yeah, you did, right. Okay, next question. BMX tracks, ball fields, and ballparks are great, but only serve part of the community. What do you you think are the concerns of Oldsmar seniors? Can we devote more resources to them? So, Mrs. Afonso, will you go first?
Are we alternating or,
Yeah?
okay, then it would be Mr.
Okay.
Bateman.
It doesn't matter, but whatever.
Okay, I got all mixed up, I'm
We're
sorry.
talking about, okay, that land is not owned by the city of Oldsmar. We lease it for, I think, $1 a year from Swiftmud. And we can only put certain things there. And I was the one that we pushed for the BMX track in the beginning. In fact, if you go down there in the ball fields are named after my son, Robin Banks Beaver. He was blind and he played Little League constantly. I made the motion in 1993 to build Canal Park when the other council members didn't want to do it, but we did it anyway. And senior citizens down there's other places we need to work with for the senior citizens. We can only put so much down there according with our agreement with Swiftmud.
Thank you.
Okay. What we have over there, actually behind Galair, is the Oldsmar Trail. And this is something that can be utilized for the senior citizens if they want to get out and walk or ride a bicycle. And I have offered my services to actually take some of those citizens of Galair out on a bicycle ride and show them where they can get around town without being in the traffic of Tampa Road, and how they could make a day of it, just using the trail to get to Jack Willie's for lunch or to even go to the library. So they're all alternatives. It's just a matter of talking to people and finding out what they are.
Thank you. Next question, and you go first.
Okay.
We don't have enough places to meet in Oldsmar. Tico Hall is overbooked. What can be done to provide more meeting places?
Well, that may be an outreach to businesses or other stakeholders with civic groups that may have space, that may offer some type of a space or a schedule for meeting space. There's also our park system and shelters, if the weather's right. Those make great places to meet.
Mr. Beaverland?
Well, the Chamber of Commerce handles that pretty well. We have 5 hotels in this town, and they all have a place to meet with. Now, Tico Hall is that's an incredible place that the city of Oldsmar owns. Other than that, there is no other places right now except there is no other places. Now, in our long-range program, next to the library, we are planning a center there, a large center there, which would have many meeting halls in it. But again, it all depends on money.
Okay, the next question, and you go first this time. Did I do that wrong? I mean, this is, I'm all confused. I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Beaverland goes first, there. Oldsmar has been fantastic in inviting green environmental issues into the daily life of its citizens. Our recycling program is absolutely fantastic. How can you add to this program by including businesses, restaurants, stores, theaters, etc.?
Well, the recycling program is a voluntary thing. We can't go to the businesses and tell them you have to recycle. We can't do that. We're one of the first cities to start the recycling program. In fact, we have a council member right now that's sitting out there in the audience telling verbally in her mind saying, "Now say the right things, Jerry, say the right things." Recycling is it, but it's a voluntary thing. We're all for it. Recycle as much as you can, but we can't make them.
Now you're,
Okay. Jerry's right. You can't make them as voluntarily, but there may be some alternatives to just the recycling program we have with Republic. There could be a system of compost collection that could be done that could then utilize into the community gardens or other areas of Oldsmar.
thank you. Now this time you go first,
Okay.
and it's arts bring business, as Tarpon Springs and Dunedin have proved. What can we do to encourage the arts in Oldsmar? Thank you.
Well, one program I'd like to see personally is to asked the art community to consider creating artistic bicycle racks and put them outside of businesses or other areas in Oldsmar that currently don't have bicycle facilities. And that was done in Dunedin with very much success.
Well, the arts in the city of Oldsmar was started, but I think people that's been here a long time would agree that I started it. When I was mayor in the mid-1990s, we contracted with the University of South Florida, and they had art exhibits here. We have art exhibits here in the city hall constantly. And I love the arts. Our oldest son that we lost was one of the most famous folk artists in America, and he was almost blind. He was the leading folk artist for the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. So the arts, I'm always for arts. I mean, the city's for arts. You know, you can't compare us to Dunedin. They're the largest city, and they have a huge program over there. Now, can we have the same program? If people will step up and bring their money, we can have the same program they have.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Beaverland, you go first with this question. With the current city manager planning on retiring in the near future, what do you think will be important considerations in hiring a new city manager?
That's one of the most important things. That's why I'm running. Because if you don't have the right city manager, then you have to deal with Dunedin, Tarpon Springs, and the other governments that they're always changing city managers. You have to you have to bring someone in that, as far as I'm concerned, that lives in this city, that knows this city, that knows the history of this city, and if you don't know that, then we'll educate you.
Thank you.
Well, there's no arguing with that at all, and I agree completely with Jerry. But I will say the final decision for a new hire would not be on one council member. And so through background research and interview process and discussion, I believe collectively and collaboratively, we could find a new city manager.
Thank you. Next question. How do you think the city should proceed on downtown, and that's Market Square? Mrs. Alfonso.
Well, we've heard, this has been out there before. I've been in council meetings hearing about this over the years. Perhaps a reassessment of the priorities to broaden the scope of the proposal participation and to set a deadline to commit. I would also consider how the people will access this area. Is it going to be by car, by bicycle, walking? Is the Oldsmar Trail going to lead into this area? And that would actually help in examining what type of facility and how it interplays with the residents.
Thank you.
I got to correct something here. The city council does hire the city manager. The city council does hire the city manager, and that's extremely important. I would hope that everyone would know that on council, that the city council hires the city manager. Now, as far as the downtown redevelopment, we've tried that 3 times, and we've failed 3 times. And, you know, you can have the bicycle tracks all over the world, but it's how people get here and how we draw them here with what we have. And we have an incredible piece of land over here. It's almost 3 acres. And with the right direction, we can build a downtown here that's second to nobody.
Thank you. So you go first for this question.
Sure.
Do you have any prior commitments to Oldsmar Fire Department Union to attain their endorsement?
Of course not. Let me tell you this. In 1995, when I ran for mayor, every fireman went out and campaigned door to door against me. Door to door against me in 1995 when I ran for the mayor of Oldsmar. I won the election, and the first thing I did is I went down to the fire department and I said, "Guys, I'm gonna be the biggest fan you guys have ever had," and I have been that way. We have one of the best fire departments in the world, and I have made sure that that fire department has everything that they need. In fact, there's things down there that the city manager didn't want. And that's our volunteer, that's our emergency vehicle. No, of course I didn't.
Thank you.
I wouldn't mind hearing the question again.
Okay, do you have any prior commitment to the Oldsmar Fire Department Union to attain their endorsement?
No.
Take care of that. Okay, now you go first. Will your employment require you to miss any monthly city council meetings? Three are, it says 3 or more meetings missed last year. I don't know what that pertains to, but will you understand the question?
I understand the question, yes. My employment would not require it, but I think in today's world, with the way things happen, that scheduling does start to become an issue. There are certain things that happen at certain times of year. I certainly have on my calendar the council meeting schedule already embedded because I attend the council meetings. And then it's just a matter of moving my own employment schedule. But personal-wise, if there's a family event that comes up on a council meeting and I want to see my nephew receive his Eagle Scout certification, I'm going to Colorado.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I've been on the city council as mayor and council member for 25 years. And the only time I've ever missed a meeting is when I went to Meeks Countryside and they cut both of my knees off and threw them in the garbage can. I have never missed another meeting in 25 years.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want a break now, or should I ask a few more questions? Okay, I think I've gone through.
Any additional questions?
I can ask some of yours, okay.
We got a couple more.
Any more written questions? Nope. Okay. All right, so, Mr. Beaverland, you go next. What do you know is your job as a city council member? And what do you think you can do to promote the city? And how do you think you can make it more well-known in circles that are important to make sure the city is included in all regional plans?
Look at my past history and see how I have promoted the city of Oldsmar. I was chairman of the Pine Hills Planning Council, and every time they introduced me, I'd say I'm mayor of the incredible, beautiful city of Oldsmar. And for 7 years, they all laughed at me when I left. They said, "You sure do love your city." You do it by leadership. You do it by leadership. You know, one time, people think that the city manager runs the city. He operates the city. The leadership is up here. We set the standards. The city council sets the standards. We are the leaders. And if you're going to lead your city. In 1996, I sat next to Mayor Daley in Cleveland, Ohio, when the United States Council of Mayors gave me an award of being one of the most livable cities in the United States of America under the population of 100,000. We aren't even big enough to join the United States Council of Mayors, and they presented me the award of being the mayor of that city.
Thank you.
Well, my understanding would be to serve the residents of Oldsmar. And I currently serve on the Pinellas County Metropolitan Planning Organization on 2 boards. That would be the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee and the Citizen Advisory Committee. I also work with the Florida Department of Transportation and the Florida Greenways and Trails Foundation. And there are some bicycle paths, one of which is called the Coast to Coast Connector, that has opportunity to tap into Oldsmar. And Oldsmar has an opportunity to showcase itself as the hub of Tampa Bay with regards to a trail system that's going to be regionally across the state.
Thank you. So the next question, and you go first this time. What have you found out about yourself and the elective process so far? What has been the biggest surprise?
Well, what I found out about myself is that I managed to always find a connection with the residents, just out there meeting them. And the biggest surprise was to go up to total strangers and ask for their support when signing for the petition, and the encouragement and support that I received for them to do that. That was very surprising and delightful, and I'm very thankful for it.
Thank you. Next.
I love it. I love serving the people of Oldsmar. In the late 1990s, I would go, every new resident that moved into the city of Oldsmar, and I would go to their front door, I would knock on their door, I would welcome them to the city of Oldsmar, I would introduce myself, I'm mayor of the city of Oldsmar, welcome to our beautiful city, and I'd give them a waste can for their recycling. We serve the people. What makes a city great? It's their residents, then their businesses, then government. Government doesn't make the city. The residents make this city great. And I publish my phone number all the time. Call me, don't call me before 9 o'clock, and don't call me after 11 o'clock at night. You can call me any time of the day. And in fact, today I got a phone call, and I'm not even on council yet. And I may not be, who knows?
Right. Okay, the next question, and you go first this time. What do you see as the city's biggest challenge over the short term, your 2-year term if elected? And what will you do to overcome that?
That me?
Yes.
It's a 3-year term.
Oh, that's the, okay.
Our biggest challenge is to maintain who we are and what we are. We're one of the leading cities in the state of Florida. We were one of the only, we have lowered taxes 5 times in the last 25 years and never raised taxes. We have parks that's, for our population, we have more acreage and parkland than any other city in the state of Florida for our size. What you do is you have to maintain that. Go for number one. And we've been number one in our AWT plant, in our water plant. Our big challenges is this: stay on top.
Thank you.
Well, and in addition to that, I would say to go back to this prospect of hiring a new city manager. And again, to reiterate that it's not a one-person decision, it is the council's decision, and it's how we would work together as a council to find that fit for Oldsmar that would move it in to the future, keeping it on top.
Thank you. Then, so you go first this time. The Oldsmar government is essentially made up of 3 parts: the city council, the city manager, other charter officials and staff, and citizen boards. How do you think this partnership works? And what will you do to strengthen it? You want me to read it again?
No. I actually have firsthand experience being on the Leisure Services Board. So I know how it works, and it can be strengthened with, I believe, more communication between the council and the citizens that serve on the boards. Usually it's just a matter of when a recommendation is made, and at some point, maybe there should be more communications with what's on everybody's agenda and how we're moving forward with it.
Thank you.
We have incredible charter officials, our attorney, our city clerk, and our manager. And a lot of that comes by not only their leadership, but our leadership. It's the communication between all of us here. This city is lucky to have the charter officials that we have. And I am proud to say that I have voted for all 3 of them.
Thank you. Okay, now this is something innovative. We're going to ask you each to ask the other candidate a question, one question. And so I believe it's your turn to go first.
All right. Well, Jerry, this isn't going to be anything difficult, but other than where you live or work, where in Oldsmar do you spend most of your time and why?
I spend most of my time at my house.
Okay.
I write books. I wrote 4 books on the city of Oldsmar. I just finished a novel and I'm on my next novel. I come to City Hall a lot. I don't travel outside the city of Oldsmar very much because this is my city and I want to be by my beautiful wife.
Now, Mr. Bieberlin, you have a chance to ask Mrs. Alfonso a
Who are you
question.
going to vote for?
In which election?
I asked it.
Well, I was going to vote for Dan, but I don't have to do that now.
Okay, I think you've answered a lot of questions. I've gone through most of the questions. And so now we'll have the closing statement, and you may go first.
Good luck.
Thank you.
The city of Oldsmar is the most incredible city in the South, in the state of Florida. I love it. We've lived here a long time. And the people that know me know that I like to serve the people. And I've always made this promise. The one promise I make is that I promise to do the best I can. And sometimes I may break that promise.
Thank you. You're next, and you have 1 minute.
All right. 1 minute? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I recognize that courage and effort are not enough without purpose and direction. And I look to the residents of Oldsmar to be part of this city's purpose and direction. And I have 2 questions of the residents. First, I'd like to ask that the residents of Oldsmar come out to Ariels Park, Shelter 1, on Sunday, February 21st, and Sunday, March 6th, from 2 to 5 p.m. to meet me. This is not a fundraiser. It's an opportunity to meet a candidate you may not be familiar with. And there is information on the website with regards to this. My second and final ask is for your support. Today I am a candidate, but on March 15th, what I become is up to you. Please elect Becky Afonso for City of Oldsmar, seat 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates.
You're not going to ask me how old I am, or?
Or your weight.
Once again, thank you all for your
Thank
time.
you.
My favorite